Today is another day of working on the project Firebird. Now, like I said, I've been uploading a lot on this car, and I just got out of work, got the garage all emptied out. That means we're doing some indoor work. Not that it's nice out, but I had the bullet heater going, got it about to 60. That'll cool off pretty quick. But if you guys can't tell from the ominous glow, we got a new light. My neighbor dropped this thing off. It is ridiculously bright, and we're going to be using it not only to paint this, but for a ton of future builds, for detailing and whatnot. This thing is like stupid bright. Anywho, you guys can see we got the engine, we got masking tape. You know what that means. We're going to be painting this engine with actually a Ford color. It's going to match the exterior quite well. Just a nice engine enamel. Got to pop off the exhaust manifold on this side. Going to pop off all of the front stuff. The alternator, which is about to come off just because I have it already loosened. Got a bunch of stuff to take off. But yeah, so right now I'm just basically masking everything up on this engine. Gonna be painting it Ford deep blue or Ford dark blue. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this first part of the video. I'm not sure if this will be its own video, but if it is, I'm gonna be showing you guys step by step, regardless of how to paint this engine, how to paint any small engine really. I have done the XL, which was one of my dirt bikes. That engine came out fantastic, so now I'm excited to see what I can do with this one. Seth painted it before he sold it to me. He painted it when he put it in his car. He did it the generic orange. Didn't come out too bad, but we do also have a video sponsor and sort of a new channel sponsor, which I'm very excited to announce. That is right in here. So if you guys don't already know about the brand Super Clean, they make a bunch of degreasers, dissolvents, they make speedy dry, stuff like that. And they actually sent me out a whole little care package of stuff. Very, very excited. They sent me out some of their floor absorbent, like their speedy dry stuff. They sent me out some of their degreaser, and we're going to be using all of this to get this engine as clean as possible. And I'm hoping it works as good as everyone says it does. This will be the true test, an old greasy engine, especially on the oil pan. So, like I said, this will be a great test for their product. I'm very excited to see how well it works. So the first step right now is removing a bunch of the stuff. I obviously don't want to paint my alternator. And yeah, I just have a bunch of stuff to remove. I got to take off the manifold, the alternator bracket. I'm going to drain the oil first as well, because the way he had his engine set up, he had a huge air cleaner sitting out of the hood. This again was in his Jaguar XJS that had the V12. And the air cleaner sucked in a bunch of water, made the oil a little milkshakey. Not ideal, but we can go ahead, drain it, because having this oil sitting here isn't exactly the most ideal situation. So gonna drain the oil right now, take out the filter, drain the filter, and then probably put it back on, or maybe I'll just tape it up. I still have to buy new oil and a new filter for it, of course, but that's, you know, when I go to start the car, I'll do that. Still have to buy coolant and trans fluid. So right now we're gonna start this video, we're gonna paint this engine. So let's go ahead, let's drain the oil, take off the accessories. Gonna leave the intake and whatnot on. The proper way would be to remove everything. That's a bit excessive, so we're just gonna tape everything off and see how good of a job we can get for like less than $20 in paint and maybe 20 or 25 bucks worth of other materials like degreasers, cleaners, and tape. This oil isn't gonna look good. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice color, but it's not the color you want oil to be. So I actually decided to leave the oil filter in there, and it seems like this floor absorbent stuff actually works pretty good. It's sort of I think it's like a wood dust stuff, but it's actually kind of nice. It might be better than that stuff. Have to go a bit thicker with it. I had to spread down a bit more than I thought I had to, but it didn't take much at all. So that stuff actually seems really, really solid. Alright, manifold removed. So it is a good thing that I know these will come in and out, especially after I anti-seize them, because she's getting long tube headers. There's no way I'm running a stock box truck manifold. Trust me, guys, I ain't gonna let that happen. Wow, this is being completely held on by RTV right now, isn't it? I just punched the crank pulley. Wow. Alright, with a minute to regain my cool, because that hurt like a... We're now going to start degreasing this thing. Seth, I see your paint runs down here. So now we have the super clean degreaser. Gonna see how well it does. Obviously I have fuel pump and the exhaust manifolds all blocked off. I was gonna tape off that, but obviously it ain't gonna stick. So let's just go ahead. Smells like it works. And I'm probably gonna be taking the starter off and painting it another color. Probably just gonna go with a nice simple black, nothing crazy. My God. I'm gonna really coat this thing. It smells really strong. This should probably be ventilated, but you know what? It's fine. So I have the engine. It's been sitting in degreaser. Got the starter off. I'm just gonna start by wiping down. I guess start from the top. Got some brake clean and a wire brush. Add some abrasive to it. It's taking off most of the old paint actually. Okay, so it is the next day. Now I ran out of brake clean and a few other things that I needed to finish the engine. We're gonna take a little break from working on the engine. I just laid down primer all over my new seam sealer. Didn't record that either, I'm pretty bad at this. But I did seam sealer all along the seam as you would to seal it. And that's all along every seam on the front end. It's actually a really nice day out, just got out of work. Have some alcohol and a somewhat lint-free rag. Gonna go ahead, we're gonna clean down the surface, prep it, blow it off with the air gun, and then we're gonna spray it. I'll show you guys the official color reveal. It's sitting behind me, but we'll see it on the firewall. It's gonna look pretty sweet. So let's go. Oh, it's a chipmunk. So with the surface all clean, and again, you guys want to clean it between everything you do. So you sand it, clean it, prime it, clean it, paint it, clean it, clear it, and then buff, cut, wet sand, all that stuff. So I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna tell you guys one of the little tricks that I've heard about online. We're gonna put it to the test, see if it actually works, and that would be putting the can of spray paint. Now we are using Rustoleum. Putting that can of paint in really, really warm water, and supposedly it reduces orange peel like a lot. So we're gonna put that theory to the test right now. Hopefully we can lay down some paint pretty clean and see how it comes out. So this is the official color reveal. It is navy blue gloss protective enamel by Rustoleum. This color looks really, really good. I already sprayed it on a test panel. I bought like every single blue spray paint Lowe's had. This was the one I liked. I got a few cans, gonna have to order some more online. Gonna shake it up really well. The can's nice and warm. And then we're gonna spray it and see how it comes out. Now, with any spray paint or any paint job in general, you're gonna wanna spray the tough to reach areas, the weird angles. Now, this isn't any angle can. That's the only way I would ever really paint a car. Obviously, gravity fed would be pretty close to any angle. But with the spray cans, anything that's not any angle kind of sucks to use. And these aren't the best spray tips, but I am okay with them. They work pretty decently. My clear coat is about to get delivered. So I laid down 3 coats of the Rustoleum. Now ignore areas like this. That's just where the material was different because I had something on the firewall. That'll all be covered up, but the paint came out pretty dang good. Now of course there is a little bit of orange peel. It came out of a rattle can. What do you expect? I might wet sand the firewall. I don't even know. But like, it came out pretty solid, and from here it looks really, really good. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to test out the clear, because like a lot of people say they use this over the enamel. Some people say never ever. We're going to find out. We're going to put it to the test. I have a dry panel right here back when I was testing colors. Gonna spray that. And I just sprayed this. Gonna give that about 10 minutes to dry and tack up. And then I'm gonna spray that to see what happens when I spray it when it's totally hardened. And to see what happens when I spray it when it's a little tacky. Hopefully it works when it's tacky and I don't have to waste this can, because this can is only good for 48 hours. So I literally just sprayed my last can of clear over the firewall. It looks a little matte now. That's just because it's still kind of wet. Once it dries, it gets super glossy. I let that second coat dry for probably an hour. Took the KTM for a ride. Discovered a few little issues with it. Nothing too crazy though. This bike will need some tuning and dialing. I'm going to do a full carb rebuild back to factory jetting. Handlebars, adjust all my levers, fix this little issue with the clutch, chain slack, brake lever, shift lever, everything needs to be adjusted and tuned to my riding style, of course. And it made a little clutch chatter. Not sure if that's the rubber dampeners in there going bad or if it was clutch chatter, but it went away when I pulled in the clutch, so that's my guess. It's a pretty common problem for these bikes as well, so I'm hoping I can get that fixed. But this came out really, really good. Check out that deep navy blue. Like I said, it will dry much glossier, like we see on here with that kind of gloss. Yeah, that's pretty solid. And that was zero prep. I just sprayed the black right there. Where it's blue, it's a little bit better down there. But I'll show you guys this once it's all dried up. I'm gonna give it about an hour. I gotta go grab some stuff to finish up the engine. But this is a huge accomplishment for today. It looks really, really freaking cool. I love it. The color's beautiful. It didn't come out absolutely perfect, but I didn't expect it to. This is my first time using the clear and that type of paint. And it's gonna be covered by a bunch of stuff anyway. Gonna have the brake booster and the master. Gonna have the wiper motor up there. Gonna have everything. So you're not gonna see much of this anyway. But what you will see looks pretty freaking stellar. I will be sure to show you guys the engine bay in the morning when it's sunny. I'm gonna show you guys this engine kinda halfway prepped. I'm still working on it. Not easy to prep, and I debated taking the intake off, but a lot of the tape's not sticking, so it's gonna be a long time of prep. It's already like 9 o'clock at night, just so you guys can get an idea. I'm not gonna show any of the painting because it ain't gonna be interesting to watch. You guys have already seen me paint enough today. It is the next day and we are checking out the paint job. Still drying up. Obviously this stuff takes about 24 hours to dry. Little bit of orange peel, but I mean, what do you expect? That'll wet sand right out. Gonna give this a while to dry before I even do anything with it, just because I don't want to take the risk. And yeah, it doesn't look pretty over the seam sealer, I know, but it'll be fine. I just don't want to take the risk of doing anything to this and messing up the paint, so we're gonna let it dry. But the blue looks absolutely stellar. And ignoring the fact that I poorly masked off the engine and timing cover, I'm gonna acetone all that. Acetone this, clean it all up. The engine looks pretty dang snazzy in the blue, if I do say so myself. I love how it came out. I missed a few tiny little areas that I'm gonna have to touch up right under that valve cover. I'll touch that up when the valve covers are off. But I really like how the blue came out. Again, valve covers are getting swapped out. I'm gonna acetone it off anyway. Same with the intake, so I wasn't really scared at all of that. But I think it looks really, really good in that blue with all the chrome and stainless and metal colored things. It's gonna look really, really sick. I'm actually excited for that. After fighting the snow for a little bit, got the new subframe in front of the chassis. Now this impact gun is, yep, it's as massive as it seems. It's a Harbor Freight Chicago Electric 1/2-inch impact. It was purchased for like $2 at a yard sale, and let me tell you, the transmission wouldn't be out of that box truck right now if it wasn't for this thing. So it kind of works pretty well. I mean, it's obviously massive, doesn't fit in many areas. That's the wrong size. Got this big old section of old crusty line off. Now I did just have a package come in a day or two ago with all brand new stainless brake lines, so that's gonna be quite the upgrade sitting on that freshly refinished everything. This thing is gonna look so good when it's done. So I got Big Bertha, the sway bar off. There's a hole in the bottom of the frame I'm gonna have to re-tap because it was messed with at some point. Got the drag link and all that's off. The pitman arm, all that's off. So now we're dealing with a pretty empty base here. It's just the subframe, control arm, spindle, transmission, cross member. That's all that's left on this subframe. Next step is to get the spindle, control arms, and then that spring, or however, I'm not really sure on the order yet. I still gotta figure that out. And I gotta take those motor mounts out. Got new ones on the way. But these actually have nuts on the back of them that aren't welded. In case you guys didn't know, there's literally no way to get under there to hold the nut. I have no idea how I'm gonna get those out. So I have yet to start compressing the springs, but I did just remove the old extra crusty shocks. It's a good thing we have brand new competition engineering adjustable drag shocks for this, because those are junk. They don't compress at all. I got a huge mess of tools I'm gonna have to pick up tonight, but tomorrow's also gonna be super warm, and I'm figuring I'll end the video tomorrow once this is fully disassembled and I start pressing bushings out and whatnot, because it will be a bare subframe very soon. So stay tuned. Next step is that. So went at it with the O'Reilly tool to see if we could get the spring out. Obviously we didn't go too bad at all. Probably took 5 or 10 minutes, if that. You can see a big chunk of the spring is still in the lower control arm there. There's another chunk of spring right there. So obviously we're gonna need springs to the front, and I'm looking into doing tubular control arms if I can find a set cheap enough. I'm not gonna spend $2,000 on control arms where you're not gonna feel a difference. Now we have to fight this side, which has this little spacer in it that we have to take out. So that's gonna be fun to try and get out. And then the idea is you put the spring compressor in, compress the spring, pop the lower ball joint off, and then I use a pry bar to pry the spring out, and then we're gonna take the control arms off and either press in my new bushings to these ones, paint them, pour 15 them, all that, or just buy nice new tubulars and press my nice new polyurethane bushings in. Before I close out this video, I want to give a huge shout out to Super Clean for sending out some of their products for me to test. I really do appreciate it, and I wouldn't have been able to get the engine clean and painted without you guys. If you guys want to send out more product, you know my address. I'd also love to do a giveaway with some Super Clean stuff, so hit me up in the email. But like I said, thank you guys so much for sending out the product. It was awesome. The degreaser works incredibly well. The floor absorbent works awesome in small spills, so I couldn't be more happy. Again, thank you so much to Super Clean for sending out some product for this video. So, the control arms, the shocks, the springs, motor mounts, everything except for these two little brackets and the cross member, which isn't gonna come off easily, is off of our subframe. And this is ready to start getting modified for the new trans. The engine should bolt right up, because these cars did come with the Chevy 350, or at least the Camaro did. Same subframe, so should bolt up pretty well. Got this big old pile of old parts. As you guys can see, we had springs break, but everything went pretty smooth. And I also went ahead at the interior a little bit, got most of it disassembled, and that's where I'm gonna end today's video. Got a ton of work done on the Bird. Got the firewall painted, the engine painted, the frame stripped down, ready to be modified, re-welded, reinforced, pour 15. We're getting super close to the engine going into this car. Still waiting on the floor pans to show up, because that subframe can't go in until the floor pans are here. Once that happens though, it's go time. We'll be pushing super fast. Got to get a custom drive shaft made, or modify this one at least. Bunch of work still has to get done. I realize also that the Prelude needs a little tune up, a little checking in, because one of the rear pads was gone because the e-brake got stuck on. The CBR needs a bolt check, but I'm taking it to a car meet tonight. So, I mean, that doesn't make much sense. But the Prelude doesn't have pads, and I'm not taking the Jeep. So, that's what we're going to do. A lot of the fleet needs some maintaining. I've been focusing way too much on the Bird, but still going to try to upload one big video on it a week. Try to get some other little videos throughout the weekend if I can. Found a little issue with the KTM, but I have to look into that still. I think it's some clutch chatter from these rubber dampeners. I won't know until I pop it apart, so kind of sucks, but I guess I'll figure that out. If you guys like this video and you want to stay up to date on the Firebird series, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I've been uploading once a week, and I'm really trying to upload a bit more frequently, but builds like this aren't cheap, so I can't just keep ordering parts. I'm already 3,000 and something deep into this, and this is what I have to show for it. So if that says anything. But like I said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, you guys can subscribe and follow the playlist. I've been updating it every time I upload a video. Be sure to drop a like and comment down below what you guys are working on for projects, or if you've ever done a full bare frame resto or Restomod on any one of your cars. This is the first time for me. I did something similar with the CBR, but I didn't take the engine out of the frame. So this is the first time I've ever torn into a car this much, and I'm super excited to see how it looks when we're all done. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Told my brothers one day we gon' make it. We just gotta grind for that paycheck. Mama told me one day I'll be famous. Remember when she used to say she hate this. Back then they would laugh when I say shit. Now I'm inside all them people's playlists. So one day I'll be stomping.